Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. Let's talk about Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Kohberger's defense team just filed a motion with the courts, and they're claiming if the trial doesn't get moved out of Latah County and he is found not guilty, that angry people will burn the courthouse down. There will be riots in the streets of Latah County. Do you think they're over-exaggerating here? They actually filed a motion. They want the trial moved out of Latah County. Prosecutors wanted to stay in Latah County. It might possibly be moved out of Latah County, but if it does stay in Latah County, you really think people are going to be like pitchfork, outrage mobs, tearing down the courthouse and taking vengeance because Bryan Kohberger got acquitted? Do you think it's that serious, folks? Burning down the courthouse. That's what they're claiming in jury questionnaires. Now, one of the victim's family's attorney, Shannon Gray with the Goncalves family, he speaks to Ashley Banfield, and he speaks on that matter. He thinks that's just all hype. Check it out.
Shannon is the attorney for the family of Idaho student murder victim Kaylee Goncalves. Shannon, it's good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a while. I wanted to touch base with you about these developments, those incredible quotes that the defense says that they elicited from that survey. What's your gut reaction on learning that?
Well, I mean, I think in any motion that the defense has filed lately, I mean, the family really believes it's really a lot of grandstanding, this idea that, there's going to be riots and burning the courthouse down and find him and kill him in mobs in 2024. I think the family feels is just, these motions now that the family feels that they're writing them more for the public than they are really for the defense. And the fact that, you pick and choose out of, I guess, hundreds and hundreds of people that were surveyed, you pick and choose 4 or 5 comments. And then, oh, by the way, over here where we want it, there aren't those types of comments. They probably, the idea that they might have picked and choose those kind of comments from the areas that they wanted to is not above someone when they're writing a motion. So.
Also, Shannon, do you think that, look, no matter what, when you have a high-profile case, you're going to get people who, under voir dire, are going to say all sorts of things. Do you think that voir dire is going to be adequate in weeding out any potential, trouble spots, troubled jurors, stealth jurors, people who just shouldn't be on the panel?
Voir dire is one of those things. It's an art. I've had hundreds of more over 100 jury trials, and that part of the questioning when you're picking the jury, it's one of those things where you kind of have to have a game plan, and you kind of sometimes have to feed them questions to see how they answer things. But a jury will be picked. I don't think there will be any problem picking a jury in Latah County. I found that most of the cases that were the hardest to pick a jury were like simple misdemeanors, like a DUI. How many people have been affected by a DUI or know someone about a DUI? And they already have this complete, utter opinion about the DUI and whether they're driving or they're intoxicated or they had an uncle that got a DUI and got, the judicial system messed it up and, all these types of things. So those are very difficult trials, oddly enough. But how many people are really involved with murder stuff? Not many. It's a handful of people that you might even find on the jury that have someone that, so
it is a good point.
You're going to find 8 people. You're going to find 18 people in Latah County, and that's where the family wants the jury to stay and for the trial to occur there. So
let me ask you this. I know it is a hell of a drive, right? Right. So if you were to drive, I know that your clients, the Goncalveses, are from Coeur d'Alene, and if they were to drive to Moscow, it's about a 2-hour drive. If they were going to have to drive all the way down to Boise, that's about, I don't know, 6-7 hour drive. So it would be really arduous for them to take on that travel, to be at trial every day. I don't know if the judge would take that into consideration, but would your clients be okay with the other option, the Kaylee Anthony option, or Casey Anthony option, where the jurors get bussed in from a different jurisdiction? Would they be okay with that choice?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the family just wants, like everyone else, a fair and impartial jury to have a trial. That's all they want. And if you don't think you can find enough in Latah County, you have Nez Perce County that has a huge population, which is Lewiston. You have Kootenai County, which is Coeur d'Alene. All of those are feasible options to pull in a jury pool for this case. And remember, you're just picking, 12 and then 4 to 6 alternates maybe on this case. So if the family feels like that's enough jury pool to be able to pick a jury here in Latah County. So.
Shannon Gray, I always appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, and I hope we're going to talk again soon. I know this is going to be a difficult week for your clients. Please wish them well for me.
Thanks so much.
So do you think the trial should be moved or not moved out of Latah County? One, I personally, as a journalist, would love it for it to be moved out of Latah County because Moscow, Idaho is very, very hard to get to. If you're not from there, it's an all-day travel. It's a nightmare. Trust me. Going on flights, no direct flights, Spokane. Even if you go to Seattle, you got to drive 5 hours. Even if you go to Boise direct, you got to travel 5 hours. And, there's not much very good cell phone reception, not much very good food in the area, though I do like the Mad Greek. Mad Greek got great food, yummy gyros. Hotels are Let's bring it to Boise so journalists can fly into Boise, get those great hotels, live stream to provide everyone in-depth coverage, great hotel accommodations. I think Boise is an adequate place, though you got to feel for the victims' families, like the Goncalves family. They're from 85 miles, Kootenai County, up there to the north of Moscow, so that means they would have to travel. Chapin family, they're not saying if they're participating or not. They said they're actually not, but they might. I think they might go, whatever. But they're from Washington State. That's a long hike. Xana's mom's in jail. She might get out before the trial starts. The Mogen family, they're from the same place area where, actually, her parents are divorced, but they're from up by where the Goncalves family lives. I'm sure they have to travel too. And Xana's dad from Arizona, though he has ties in Idaho, but they would all have to travel to Boise. So that's a long hike. Prosecutor that had traveled to Boise, but I think it might come up with a middle ground in this situation. The case go to Nez Perce County, one county to the south. I think that might be there. That might be the solution there. But do you believe all that burning down the house type of deal? I don't think so. I think that's just over-exaggerating and, making it appear like, oh, it's going to be outrage. Though there would probably be outrage if Bryan Kohberger got acquitted, but I think he's most likely going to get convicted. My prediction. JLR Investigates. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel. Like, hit the notification button. Don't play with matches. Don't play with lighters. But always have a lighter in your house because, if the power goes out and you need a lighter for an emergency, I usually put mine in my cabinets. Bryan Kohberger, Moscow, Idaho, King Road. Yeah, we're still talking about that case, but it's still not at trial yet. Will he take a plea? Let me know what you think. Or will he fire his attorneys? Ann Taylor, Jay Logsdon. Will William Thompson be there after this year? It's election year, next year. Election year coming. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that case. Check out my playlist. We will talk soon. JLR Investigates. Stay tuned.